there's a saying, sometimes the best move is not to hit that send button. And before you hit that send button, sometimes maybe you want to review what you're sending out there, maybe sleep on it. In this particular case, Snoop Dogg is an ass, plain and simple. Roland's going to get on him about his rant about the Roots show that's on the History Channel. And I agree 100% with Roland on this. Snoop Dogg should have kept his mouth shut. And I'm going to say about Roots and the few, there's not a lot, but the few historical black slavery movies, and there are a few that they need to be pushed out there. It's part of American history. I've made videos previously where they're trying to remove the term slavery out of the history books. They're trying to, if not remove it, replace it with the word indentured servant, which is a straight out lie. They want to remove all references to Jim Crow and Jim Crow laws. There's an attempt to rewrite history. Now, my Jewish friends, there is no way in hell that they are going to let the world forget about the Holocaust. Their classic saying from the moment that they can understand and speak is never forget. And we as black people need to take up that same mantra. Never forget. And every chance we get, we should push it. Now, the Jews got reparations, and we didn't do a damn thing to them, and the United States has paid the Jews reparations. The United States has paid Native Americans reparations. The United States has paid Asian Americans, Japanese specifically, reparations. No thought of reparations to African Americans, and there probably never will be any type of reparations paid to us. That 40 acres and a mule, that one of the generals that was basically a governor over a territory in the South that stretched from South Carolina down to Florida, he basically came up with the 40 acres and the loan of a mule. Well, after Lincoln was assassinated, he had a racist ass vice president who took over for him, and Lincoln had signed off on that, and that's what you would call an executive order. Well, the new president, I believe it was Jackson or Johnson, I forget which one it was. Anyway, the president that took over for Lincoln basically negated that executive order, and it was going downhill from that point forward, even through Reconstruction. But anyway, I digress. Snoop Dogg is an idiot, and he's a self-serving idiot. He's got no basis for his statements, and he hasn't shown his quote-unquote support of his community. He's out for himself, and I can tell you, he's not the nicest of individuals. And anyway, let me stop denigrating him. Here's the clip from the Roland Martin show.
All right, folks, we're about to have a live simulcast of the Tom Jordan Morning Show, and we're about to have my commentary just a little bit here. So let's pull up the Jordan music. And y'all about to hear me have a couple of words about Roots and a certain puff pass rapper.
From my Washington, D.C. studio. Roland Martin. Martin, good morning.
Tom, Simple J, good morning. Also, we are on TV One News One Now right now. And first off, before I get into my commentary, I'm going to be in Raleigh this afternoon, Tom, for the HBCU rally. The North Carolina legislature will be voting today on Senate Bill 873. And many say it's going to be impacting those HBCUs. And so I will be on the ground for that rally today, thanks to our Radio 1 station in Raleigh. Now, let me get to the business at hand. Tom, Snoop Dogg, Mr. Puff Puff Pass Pass, posted the following message on Instagram because he is not happy about the remake of Roots.
No disrespect, but I can't watch no black movies getting dogged out, 12 Years a Slave, Roots, Underground. I can't watch none of that. Sick of it. They gonna put Roots on Memorial Day. They gonna just keep beating our heads on how they did us, huh? I mean, I don't understand America. They just want to just keep showing the abuse that we took hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But guess what? We're taking the same abuse. Think about that part. When y'all gonna make a series about the success that black folks is having? The only success we have is Roots and 12 Years a Slave and like that, huh? I ain't watching that. I advise you, that's real like myself, them television shows. Let's create our own based on the day, how we live and how we inspire people today. Black is what's real. Get over.
Now, to put that on Instagram, this, and I'm not going to even use the language he's using because, I mean, half the Instagram video he did, he had to bleep out because of the poor language. But this fool, he would prefer to forget everything that was done to the African American community rather than to bring it out and let it stand in the light of day. So, which is ridiculous.
Now, here's what I find to be real interesting, Tom. Here you have Snoop Dogg talking about how he's a real nigga. Well, guess what, Snoop? Had you actually watched Roots, you would have heard the character tell Kunta Kinte that he was a nigga, and he said, no, I'm a Mandinka warrior. Maybe if Snoop actually watched Roots, he would realize that he's not the N-word. Also, but here's what gets me. You had what? Roots, 12 Years a Slave, and what else? What's up with all of these slave films as if it's just been a plethora of slavery movies that have come out in history? But not only that, Tom, this is what I love. You will never find somebody Jewish who says, you know what, it's way too many Holocaust films.
Exactly.
Can we just move on? Can we stop bringing up the Holocaust? Tom, check this out. Schindler's List, Sophie's Choice, Life is Beautiful, Holocaust, The Pianist, Train of Life, Fateless, Playing for Time, The Gray Zone, Seven Beauties, The Counterfeiters, Amen, Angry Harvest. The list goes on and on and on. And those are Holocaust films only in the last 10 years. The fundamental problem I have is this here. Slavery happened. Slavery is real. And too many Americans want to deny what took place in this country. The reality is black folks are survivors since the first slave touched in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. But here's what I also am confused by. Snoop Dogg says they should be making this. I checked IMDb.com. Snoop Dogg has 85 television and movie credits. He talked about successful African Americans. The best success story he's done is Soul Plane. Now, I'm trying to understand. You have the potential to change the game, but you want to complain about somebody else. But also, I got a little problem when Snoop Dogg, who is the producer of porn flicks, is talking about changing the face in terms of successful African Americans. How about this, Snoop? There's an independent film, Delroy Lindo will play Marcus Garvey. Will you invest? Will you be a producer? We also have other movies that you could also be doing. How about that? But when you slam Roots, and when you say we should boycott it, what you're saying is, oh no, we shouldn't learn those things. But the fact of the matter is, we should be learning those things, but not just Roots. Also other multiple movies. I wonder if Snoop Dogg did an Instagram post on the movie Race that came out dealing with Jesse Owens. I wonder if Snoop Dogg was going to do an Instagram post on a documentary on the 17 other blacks who were actually in the Olympics in 1936. Oh, we can go down the line, Snoop, if you want to. No, here's what I'm sick of, black folks. I'm sick of us saying we want to see more stories. Then when the movie comes out, we say, well, no, not that story. We don't want to see red tails. We want to see something else. We want to go back to before slavery. How many of y'all even have those books on your bookshelves? You see, that's what I need to understand. And so I would say to Snoop, why don't you stop smoking weed and actually bother to call Will Packer or Ava DuVernay or call Spike Lee or the countless African Americans out there who are trying to make those films and looking for folks like you who are going to put their money where their mouth is as opposed to their money on some good weed. All I'm saying is this: we need all stories being told. And if more Americans can own up to the history of America, 397 years that we've been here, and how brutal slavery was, we should see that, because just like Jews say, never forget. Snoop, we will never forget. So now the ball is in your court. Let's see what you're going to do for Shizzle, my nizzle.
And Snoop, when you're running football leagues, you need to stop cheating for your kids.
Welcome back to News One Now. It's with my panel, Steve, Amber, and Scott. See, what's really grating on me when people say all of these films, as if there's like a bucket of them, when if you actually said slave films, Roots was a television show, Underground is a series, came out this year, the first Roots in 1977, 12 Years a Slave, 2 years ago, Amistad, several years ago. That's 4. Well, am I missing? Okay, 5. Birth of a Nation coming out in October. That's 5. All?
But Roland, even if there was 100 films, that's not 100 films too many. Slavery is the greatest stain on this country's history, and it's important to know history because that history has an impact today. And we're not talking about hundreds of years ago. You and I both grew up in Houston. We can tell you in the 60s and 70s, it still was a segregated society, and we're still seeing...
Oh, yeah, and I ain't getting into 68. So, you know, but you're right. You're right.
I'm older than you.
I didn't get into November 14, 1968. But the thing that jumps out at me is that even when Selma came out, I heard some black folks say, we don't want to see that. The Butler, we don't want to see that. And I really believe that there's this whole deal. No, we don't want to see it, we want to talk about it. There is a reason why Jews make it clear you will never forget the Holocaust, because they make it clear. Never forget. Right. Their kids are raised, right. Never forget. Some of us want to forget. Right?
And that's the problem. Some of us, like Snoop Dogg, want to forget. You can never forget your heritage. You know, you can learn from it, you can evolve from it, but you damn sure never can forget it. The Jews don't. You know, the Asians, and they talk about the Japanese internment, you know, they bring that up too, and they got paid. But no, we're supposed to say, oh, forget about it. That happened, you know, hundreds of years ago. I didn't do it. Yeah, but your people did it, and they benefited, and you are a product of them benefiting from it. Same way as our people, they didn't benefit from it. The country benefited from their labor. The United States became what it was because of cotton, and cotton was what it was because of the free labor, which allowed the United States to dominate 97% of the cotton market all throughout the period of slavery. Anyway, I'm digressing again.
You know, it's interesting. I have to say Black America needs to be in therapy over this slavery issue and their existence. The fact of the matter is, America's got to continue to confront its wicked past of slavery and how they've treated people of color. And I'm not just black people across the board. And without these movies, without that powerful message, okay, it's easy to forget. It's easy to rewrite history. For several hundred years or several decades, slavery wasn't even being taught in Anglo-Saxon history books. And these movies not only capture it, but are powerful reminders that we should be taking a position never again.
In fact, Amber, what's happening right now is in Texas, in North Carolina, in Tennessee, you have these efforts to literally remove slavery completely from textbooks. And then also, if it is in there, no, they were servants.
Right, but that effort is coming from white folks, not black folks. And I think the point that Snoop Dogg is making, that a lot of young folks and Twitter are making, is that white people have so much representation. They are, I was talking about a friend, how even the M&Ms have white limbs. Like, they're everywhere. You know what their lives look like. We know the history of the Holocaust. And I do think stories like around enslavement should be told. However, there seems to be a gap in the types of representation that black folks are allowed to have. Even if you look at something like Netflix, which black folks helped to make that even more viral by coming up with terms like Netflix and chill. You have the reboot of Gilmore Girls, Full House, Boy Meets World, yet we can't even have access to Living Single. What would it like to have an updated Family Matters? All these things are also gaps, and I think that is a point that I would hope or would like Snoop Dogg to
But
What the hell is she talking about? Okay, Snoop is talking about not making movies and stuff, and she is defending him by saying, where are all the movies and the representation? She's not making any goddamn sense.
But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. And look, I agree. First of all, I want more of everything. Mm-hmm. But I would also challenge those very same people, when those movies come out, do they go see them? Mm-hmm. See, it's interesting to me that we can praise Straight Outta Compton, mm-hmm. but then we'll say, oh no, boycott Roots. When, if you say, wait a minute, what is historical? Both matter. Mm-hmm. My problem is, Snoop, you're in a position to change.
Right.
So what are you doing? See, that's like me saying, well, CNN not doing this, and MSNBC and Fox not doing this, when I have my own show, when I can actually do it. You have an opportunity to actually impact it, but even he's not doing it. Mm-hmm. So really, look at yourself.
Yeah, and there is, with the younger generation, they're farther removed from the civil rights movement and from slavery, and their view on this is really rooted in many respects in ignorance, if you will.
Even though right now we're currently leading a movement called Black Lives Matter,
hey,
young people are removed from the civil rights movement, but we're studying it.
There is no comparison between the Black Lives Matter movement, which I support, okay, and the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, more people marched and died, and they died in relative obscurity in a lot of cases. You had millions of people that went to bat in the 60s for civil rights. Now, the Black Lives Matter movement, and again, I'm a supporter of it, but it is in no way on par with the civil rights movement. So for her, and she's young, and that's the problem, she doesn't know her history. For her to bring up the Black Lives Matter movement and try to compare it to the civil rights movement, that's just wrong. That's wrong. It's ignorant, and she needs to know more about her history than apparently she knows at this point. And the lawyer, I believe, is going to try to straighten her out on it.
Civil rights movement, if you will, and Black Lives Matter is super important, mm-hmm. but you certainly can't compare Black Lives Matter and what's going on today with the 200 years, 400 years of slavery that we've endured. And those messages those stories need to be told. And by the way, we need to be telling those stories, mm-hmm. because we need to continue to confront white folks in this country that not only it hadn't gotten much better, but we've come from slavery to now discrimination.
I also think we should just be a little bit more skeptical of these studios, that the reason why some of these films are being produced are not about our freedom or us getting free. It is to enforce a narrative.
Okay, now she's spinning, and she don't know what she's talking about, because what she's going to claim is that the white studios are making these slavery movies for profit, period. That's the sole reason why they're doing it. It's not white studios that are making all of these movies, okay? And she can't even name one after rolling questions are on it. So she basically was trying to spin her way out of being caught.
People are making these movies.
Wait, hold up. Now, if we're gonna go there, okay, like what?
Like when
Name it.
Well, I think the fact that, like, The Help, we have black women in servitude. A lot of these movies are not just about enslavement, but they're the only critically acclaimed or Oscar-winning movies. We're not seeing independent films about a Snoop Dogg smoking weed or what have you.
No, actually we are. And what is happening is, the reality is here. You have a significant number of independent films. Birth of a Nation comes out in October. The reality is we need more. My problem is in the desire for more, I'm not going to denigrate what we already have as if that's irrelevant.
Which is what she was doing.
Well, if you don't teach history, how are people going to learn it? I mean, it's so important that we educate young people as to what occurred. Anybody born today couldn't have experienced the government-enforced segregation of the 60s because it's already passed. Anybody born today cannot know what slavery is like unless somebody tells them the reality of it. You mentioned that there are textbooks that gloss over what slavery was really.
Totally omit.
You're totally omit. That's why it's so important to tell the story, because over generations you can get people that distort it. You know, truth is its own reward, and you know these films are telling truth, and people need to know the truth.
What my biggest deal is this here again: if you are going to say something about it, do something about it. But you can't be an entertainer and have 75 television and movie credits. And again, your best movie is when you played a shiftless, lazy dude in Baby Boy who was at Taraji P. Henson's house, or your other best movie when you played a drug dealer in Training Day, or your other best movie when you were a high pilot in Soul Plane. That's all we got to say.
Exactly. So Snoop, as I indicated, he should have basically not hit that send button, or he should have looked at that rant he did and thought better of it. Sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut so that people just think you're ignorant instead of proving it.